Hey guys, what's up? It's Debbie, and I am back with more True Crimes of Criminal Minds. Welcome. If you've never been to my channel before, what I do is I take an episode of Criminal Minds, and then I talk about a true crime case that is similar, mentioned in the episode, or sometimes an episode is based on the case. So if you're interested in true crime and you like the show Criminal Minds, go ahead and subscribe. You won't be disappointed, I promise. And to my returning viewers, I love you guys so much. Thank you for coming back and watching another one of my videos. So, last week, the name of the episode was The Big Game. And at the end of that episode, Reed got kidnapped by the perpetrator who had dissociative identity disorder. So this episode is the second part of The Big Game, and it's called Revelations. And at the end of the episode, Reed gets rescued. They knew that videos of the crimes were being posted on the internet, so Reed was able to give them some clues to find him. And Reed gets rescued, but now, unfortunately, he has a dilaudid addiction thanks to one of the personalities of his captor. This is just the first of many times where the world dumps on Dr. Spencer Reed. The case that I'm doing this week is not a long case. I don't think it got much national coverage, and I got most of the info from NJ.com. This is a case from New Jersey, and it's another case of DID, but unlike Billy Milligan, the judge in this case was unimpressed with the diagnosis. So, let's go ahead and get started. This is the case of Dwayne Wilson. On September 19, 2005, Paris Wilson was turning 9 years old. His uncle, 41-year-old Dwayne Wilson, had gone over to his house on Wegman Parkway in Jersey City to bake him a birthday cake and celebrate his birthday with the family. Dwayne's sister, 36-year-old Marsha Wilson, was Paris's mother. She also had twins. Their dad's name is D'Artagnan, and this name looks like it's D'Artagnan, like the female version of D'Artagnan. So she had a girl named D'Artagnan, I think I'm saying that right, and a boy named Daquan, and they were both 11 years old. After the birthday party, Paris said there was an argument about money. His mother went to bed, and then the kids went into her bedroom to tell her goodnight. That was when his uncle Dwayne came into the room with a knife behind his back. Dwayne said something about money and just lashed out, stabbing everyone. His sister was sitting on the edge of the bed, and she was stabbed first, then their mother, but the kids tried to stop him. Paris says that he was in shock and fell down by the side of the bed, and then his uncle started stabbing him repeatedly. His mother's death was quick because her throat had been cut. He could hear his sister crying and his brother saying that it must all be a bad dream. After the stabbings, Dwayne left the house. Over the rest of the roughly 36-hour period before Paris was able to call 911, the kids were drifting in and out of consciousness. One time when Paris woke up, he could hear his brother, but he was in another room and Paris couldn't see him. Daquan told Paris that he was looking for his mother's cell phone. Paris drifted off again, and when he woke up, he noticed that there was a cell phone on the window ledge above him. Unable to get up due to his injuries, he was able to reach the TV antenna and use it to knock the cell phone down. I didn't realize people had TV antennas anymore, but apparently it's a good thing that they did. He was able to get the phone, and he called 911. He was able to stay awake until the police arrived, and when they got there, they called out to him to open the door, but he said that he couldn't. So they were able to break the door down and get Paris on a stretcher. He was in critical condition, but he survived. When Paris woke up in the hospital, his aunt told him that his siblings had not survived the attack. He was able to tell the police what happened, and the police finally found Dwayne on October 27th. He was in the hospital under the name Alejandro Hernandez. He told the police that he had dissociative identity disorder, or DID, and Alejandro was one of his personalities. He also said that he didn't kill anyone. Kiko did it. Kiko was his homicidal personality. He claimed that he watched it happen, but was unable to do anything to stop it. Kiko thought that he was killing Dwayne's father, who had been abusive to Dwayne during his childhood. Dwayne's father was already dead at the time of the murders. The father of the children, D'Artagnan Mazzano, a 43-year-old truck driver from South Carolina, told cops that he had never seen Dwayne lose his temper. He said that Dwayne was a heavy drinker, but he was never violent. Dwayne was examined by experts from the prosecution as well as the defense, and both sides submitted reports confirming the DID diagnosis. At the pretrial hearing, prosecutor Deborah Simon felt like a jury should decide. Defense attorney Michelle Adubato said, quote, "It's the first time that I've had someone with DID. The whole issue is Mr. Wilson was not the personality that committed the crime," end quote. Judge Thiemeling said, quote, "It would not matter that the act is something that the actor would not commit when the normal nonviolent part of their personality is in control, so long as the defendant was conscious and his or her actions were a product of their own volition." In other words, he was still responsible for his actions. Judge Fred Thiemeling agreed with the prosecution that Wilson's condition did not make Kiko a distinct individual. Dwayne pleaded guilty even though he said that he watched Kiko do the murders, which is weird because at first he told the cops that he had no idea what happened. He just woke up with a knife in his hand and saw the carnage everywhere. He also told the cops that he smoked crack that night. Don't do drugs, y'all. It's not worth it. Don't do it. He was originally charged with 3 counts of murder and 1 of attempted murder. By taking a plea deal, he was charged with 3 counts of aggravated manslaughter and 1 count of aggravated assault. He was sentenced to 30 years for each count of manslaughter to be served concurrently, plus another 10 years to be served consecutively for the count of assault. So that's a total of 40 years. Paris tried to sue Jersey City, 2 911 operators, a dispatcher, and 2 policemen for the wrongful death of his brother and sister due to a delay getting to the house. A neighbor by the name of Anthony Andrews had called 911 on the night of the crimes because he heard screaming. This was at 12:47 a.m. on September 20th. When the police hadn't shown up, he called again 22 hours later. He asked why no one had come out to check, and the 911 operator asked him, quote, "Do you have a life-threatening emergency going on right now?" End quote. So he replied, quote, "See, they should have come yesterday," end quote. And then the 911 operator just hung up. Brian C. Harris, Paris's attorney, was asking for $200 million for Paris due to the negligence of the 911 operators. The first operator made a critical mistake in not asking for a callback number. When they had a problem finding the house, the 911 operator tried to call back using phone records. They only got a hold of the person that the phone was registered to, not the actual caller. You'd think that the person would also know about the 911 call, but I guess they didn't this time. Because, like, I mean, we live out in the country, but let's imagine I live in a neighborhood and I hear a commotion or a scream or a fight or whatever. I decide I'm going to be a Karen, so I call 911. My husband's going to say, "What are you doing? It's the middle of the night. Who are you calling?" I'm going to say, "I'm calling 911 because I heard screams." So if we had a landline that was only registered to my husband, he would know about it and be able to tell the police that, yes, my wife called 911. So I don't understand why calling the person the phone was registered to didn't get them anywhere. But anyway, it just seems weird to me. Paris said that his siblings would still be alive if it hadn't taken emergency personnel so long to get to them. And I am sure that is true. We live way out in the country. There's only one way in and out from my house. And there used to be two ways. And that is the direction that the GPS always takes people. It refuses to take them the correct way. The road has been closed. So I've told my husband, if I ever call an ambulance and they don't show up and something happens to me, you sue the pants off of this city, because that's totally their fault. They're supposed to be able to find your house when you call 911. Remember, it was roughly 36 hours after the attack that Paris was able to call 911. But the neighbor called at the time of the attack. So I'm kind of on Paris' side here that, yeah, if they'd gotten there, then all three of the kids would still be alive. And maybe even mom. But the judge ruled that the city could not be sued for negligence because their actions were not, quote, wanton and willful, end quote, and could not be found liable, and the case was dismissed. So that was the case of Dwayne Wilson. I know this has been a short one, guys, but I have got 2 planned for next week. Hopefully I'll be able to do both of them. But for now, this is it. Please remember to do all the YouTube-y things, to like and share and subscribe and hit that thumbs up and the bell for notifications. And remember, be kind to people, love your family, and I will see you next time. Bye!